The Buffalo Bills enter their bye on a 2-game losing streak and tons of questions. My reaction to the Bills' loss to the Falcons is coming your way today on Locked On Bills.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino, author of the Herd Mentality Substack, co-host of the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast, co-host of the NFL First Read Podcast, and I'm your host of Locked On Bills. I want to thank you for making Locked On Bills your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, I appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Locked On Bills is a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. Well, folks, welcome in. The Buffalo Bills lose to the Atlanta Falcons 24-14 and fall to 4-2 on the season. There are questions and there are concerns and there is criticism for this football team, and every bit of it is deserved. You go through the first 4 games of the season, the Bills are 4-0. They're winning, but they're not playing their best football. You see issues. And now you suffer 2 losses in a row where you are flat out outplayed. Flat out outplayed back-to-back weeks. And this is not unfamiliar territory for the Bills. The Bills are 4-2 last year and have been 4-2 for the last 5 years. Go back to last season. They had ugly losses to the Ravens and Texans. And then, of course, they get to the AFC Championship game and had a chance to win it. But you were kind of in this similar spot. In 2023, you were 4-2, had an ugly loss in week 1 to the Jets. You had that Jags-London game, and you eventually actually fall to 6-6. You wind up getting the Chiefs at home in the divisional round. You had a chance to win the game. In 2021, they're 4-2. Ugly loss to the Steelers in week 1. You had the Josh Allen slipped loss against the Titans, and that season ends in 13 seconds. In 2020, the Bills were 4-2. They had back-to-back ugly losses to the Titans and Chiefs. So not unfamiliar territory, but does this team have the stuff to put it together and play their best football? And when they play their best football, what does it look like? I guess we're going to find out down the stretch, but if you have questions about this team, you should. They've earned that. If you have criticism for this team, it's well-deserved. It's well-deserved. Whatever your pressing issue is that you're thinking is holding this team back, right now you're absolutely right about it. This team has a lot to prove. We'll find out. We'll find out. All right, let's get into some specifics from this game. We'll do things I didn't like. We'll do things I liked from this game. We'll talk about my predictions and what's next. Let's start with things I didn't like. This team was obviously flat. Team was flat. But they still had chances. And they couldn't take advantage. You had a chance to have your same type of win that you had weeks 2, 3, and 4. But you had way too many unforced errors. First play of the game. The first play of the game. It's a dream scenario. You lose the toss, and they choose to receive the ball. And boy, if you start on defense and they don't score on that drive, you're +1 possessions the rest of the way. Boy, it's exciting. And they fumbled on the first snap of the game. Dorian Williams strips it from Bijan Robinson. Christian Benford recovers it. Doesn't count. Greg Rousseau is offsides. No play. It's 1st and 5. Falcons go 69 yards on the next 5 plays and score a touchdown. Then you have another huge defensive play called back. Joey Bosa gets a sack. Ed Oliver was offsides. So you went from 2nd and 16 after the sack to 1st and 5. You know what happened on 1st and 5? Bijan Robinson for 81 yards. I mean, come on. Those are unforced errors. You just couldn't line up. You couldn't line up correctly. I mean, you talk about tackling as the most fundamental issue for a defense. Well, in order to tackle, you got to get lined up first. They couldn't get lined up. You're lined up in the neutral zone. You just can't do it. It's a fundamental problem. Took away 2 huge splash plays, a turnover and a swing of the pendulum that goes from 2nd and 16 to 1st and 5. 1st and 5, they get an 81-yard touchdown run. How about some of your own issues on offense? Josh Allen makes an unbelievable throw on 3rd down. Khalil Shakir can't get a second foot down. Shakir's got to get a second foot down. You got to get it down. It's a tough play, but NFL receivers make that play. You have another drive that's stalled because Josh Allen throws the ball 3 yards short of Tyrell Shavers on a shallow route. Get the ball to him, dude. You have another drive stalled because Josh Allen flicks the ball to Ty Johnson. Why not just make the normal throw? You have another drive stalled because you run a ridiculous jet sweep with Elijah Moore on 4th down. It's a turnover on downs. You fumble the exchange. You can't get the 1st down. Doesn't matter that it was blocked well. You got to get the handoff done correctly. Just basic fundamental stuff. Get your foot down. Make a normal throw. Hand off the ball correctly. And then Shaq Thompson has an opportunity for a pick 6 at the end of that game that would have tied it up. You drop the ball. Atlanta foolishly passes in that situation, and you break on the ball. You have a chance to pick it off and take it to the house. You don't catch it. Yeah, you were not the better team tonight, by no means. But let's not act like there weren't plays there to be made, and you just didn't make them. And they were a lot of those unforced errors. You could have had a nice ugly win. You could have been 5-1. And no, you're sitting there choking on 2 losses in a row. Well-earned losses. Disappointing. The first half defense was a nightmare. I'll give them a lot of credit for how they responded. But this defense was lifeless to start the game, giving up 3 touchdowns in the first 4 drives. Gave up 335 yards in the first half. 335 yards in the first half. That's more yards than the Bills had for the game. The Bills had 291 yards for the game. You gave up 335 in the first half. And you know where they went with the football? Exactly where you knew they were going to go. Drake London, Bijan Robinson. Those guys had 199 yards in the first half. Robinson finishes with 25 touches for 238 yards. Drake London, 10 catches for 158 yards. You knew those guys were going to make plays. But these guys are having career games. Players are lost in coverage. Angles to the football are poor. Tackling is poor. It's bad defense. At least for the first 4 drives. They settled in, but that put Atlanta in a great position to be 2-dimensional on offense and put the Bills in a position where they're kind of chasing it. Really, really bad first half defense. They bounced back, though. All right, coming up next, we'll talk more about things I didn't like, including some specifics on the offense and injuries, and then eventually we'll talk about some good things. So, folks, be sure to stick with me. You know the saying, look good, feel good. The problem is most dress clothes only check one of those boxes. They look sharp but feel stiff, hot, and high maintenance. That's why there's Mitson & Main. Mitson & Main makes classic menswear with performance fabric, so it's effortless to look sharp and feel comfortable. They actually invented the performance fabric dress shirt over 10 years ago, and they've perfected it ever since. Their shirts are stretchy, they're moisture wicking, wrinkle resistant, and machine washable. There's no ironing, there's no dry cleaning. I love that you can go from the office to dinner or even out on the golf course and still feel comfortable all day. It's the feel of athletic wear, but the look of professional menswear. Right now, Mitson and Maine is offering our listeners 20% off your first purchase at mitsonandmaine.com with promo code LOCKEDONNFL20. That's Mitson, spelled M-I-Z-Z-E-N, and Maine, M-A-I-N.com. Promo code LOCKEDONNFL20 for 20% off. And if you'd rather shop in person, you can find Mitson and Maine stores in select states. This episode is brought to you by Mazda's Moving the Game Forward, for those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward is Greg Rousseau's blocked field goal. The Bills were in danger of going down 2 scores in the fourth quarter, and Rousseau is able to block a field goal, makes a big play that gives the Bills a chance to stay in the game and keeps it a 1-score game. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Welcome back, folks. The Bills fall 24-14 to the Falcons. Enter the bye 4-2 and on a 2-game losing streak. Let's talk about this offense. Boy, just never found any rhythm. Josh Allen sacked 4 times. He's under constant pressure and just didn't have answers, whether it was Josh Allen's own navigation of the pocket and handling pressure or having checkdowns and hot routes. It just wasn't there. And we talked about the Falcons and how they were the highest blitz rate in the NFL entering this game. They have a defense that's built to blitz and attack the pocket with the speedy edge rushers and, long arms and heavy hands on the inside, and the Bills had no answers. None. Josh Allen, one of the worst games I've ever seen in terms of the pressure affecting him and him not having answers. And I'm not saying that's completely on Josh. Some of it is, but the collective protection scheme, quarterbacks handling of the pressure, and weapons and where they're supposed to be against pressure just didn't feel like it was all synced up. And something you knew was going to happen, just like you knew they were going to throw the ball to Drake London and give the ball to Bijan Robinson. The things you knew about the Atlanta Falcons, you had nothing for any of it. I thought the Bills' offense had some major missed opportunities to involve James Cook in this offense. The guy had 17 rushes for 87 yards, which is over 5 yards per carry, but he just wasn't a big enough part early, especially when the defense was playing poorly and you needed some clock control. James Cook got going there like in the second half. He looked really good. It's like, well, maybe more earlier is a good idea. Maybe James Cook in high leverage situations and not Elijah Moore. The defense gives up 3 touchdowns on the first 4 drives. And after the Bills offense scored an opening drive touchdown, they go 4 punts in a row and an interception to close out the first half. So you go touchdown. Great. We love that. Touchdown. 4 punts in a row and an interception. That's your first half drive chart. Then in the second half, you get the ball first. You score a touchdown on the opening drive. And then you go punt, interception to close the game. So you have the turnover on downs. So you go touchdown in the second half, turnover on downs where you have a ridiculously bad call on 4th down, punt, interception to close the game. And the defense got stops. The defense got the stops in the second half. The Bills had multiple chances to tie the game, and they couldn't even get a first down. Bills offense, 14 points. They're 2 of 10 on possession down. So they go 2 of 9 on 3rd down, 0 for 1 on 4th down. You turned it over twice. You had no rhythm. It's a tough day. That's a tough day. It's a tough day. Injuries were a problem in this game. And the injuries began before it even started. Daquan Jones popped his calf in warmups. And you're already thin at defensive tackle. You have a practice squad call-up in Jordan Phillips to go with Ed Oliver in his return from injury and Deion Walker. You go into this game with 3 defensive tackles because Daquan Jones pops a calf in warmups. Josh Palmer looks like he's going to have his best game of the year. Couldn't finish the game with an ankle injury. that occurred on his second catch, which was a big third down conversion. Terrell Bernard didn't finish the game with an ankle, although I think the defense looked a whole lot better with him out, not on the field in the second half. Christian Benford finishes the game with an Achilles injury. Connor McGovern came back in after injuring his knee, and then Cole Bishop missed some time with cramping. Josh Allen self-proclaims that he's not dealing with any injuries. Sean McDermott said that he didn't hear anything about a Josh Allen injury, but we all saw him with his left hand or elbow or something was certainly in some significant discomfort. And then Dalton Kincaid, Curtis Samuel, and Matt Milano weren't available in this game. So it's funny. I was texting with Dr. Kyle Trimble. He actually sent me a text later in the game. He said, it seems like the bye week always comes when the team needs it. And then after the game, I kind of thought it through and I said, that's because they always need it. Like lately, it's just been there's never a bad time for a bye because of all the injuries. So I guess it comes at a good time, I suppose. But I mean, what confidence does anyone have that the team's not just going to have more injuries as the season moves along, which is inevitable, but it just feels like it's at an accelerated rate. So yeah, don't love all these injuries. Really disappointed in this offense. I thought you had a great opportunity to really attack a small defense, and I guess the game script really never got to the point where you couldn't run the football. In fact, I think a big part of them being able to get back into the game was that they did run the football. So miss me with that you had to become one-dimensional in the second half or in the first half. You didn't. And you needed to be able to run the ball and control the line of scrimmage and get them out of their pressure stuff. And, as you establish that run, it's going to open up your play action. It's going to open up some of your running back passing game stuff. And it's never got there. 14 points, 2 of 10 on possession downs. He turned over twice. You're not winning games in the National Football League doing that. Some things that I liked from this game, I'd love to talk about the defensive response. They give up touchdowns in 3 of the first 4 drives of the game, and then after that, they only allow 3 points. After that Bijan Robinson touchdown to go up 21-7, Atlanta punted 3 times. They turned the ball over on downs and kicked the field goal. And then they had 2 end-to-half situations. And that turnover on downs was the blocked field goal came after the Bills turned it over on downs and gave the Falcons a short field. The defense did their part after those first 4 drives. They absolutely did. They allowed the Bills to stay in the game. And the offense never closed the gap despite multiple opportunities. Anyways, I'm talking about things I liked, and I liked the defensive response. I like Deion Walker, 4 tackles for loss and a pass breakup. You can feel him. He's playing great. Ed Oliver, welcome back. 2 tackles for loss, a sack, and a quarterback hit. Felt like Shaq Thompson played well in this football game. I thought James Cook played well, 17 rushes for 87 yards, but that's it. Ray Davis made positive contributions to this team, had 2 catches, 1 for a touchdown, 1 went for a first down. Dawson Knox had a big 19-yard touchdown on 3rd down. Josh Palmer, 2 for 60. It felt like we were going to have a Josh Palmer game. For whatever reason, the Falcons put A.J. Terrell on Keon Coleman, and Mike Hughes was on Josh Palmer, and you saw some big plays, and then the guy gets hurt, and the offense, I'm not sitting here to say that Josh Palmer was the catalyst for anything good about the offense's potential, but they certainly looked a lot better with him in the lineup, and you liked how he was playing. He got hurt, didn't finish the game. Disappointing. All right, coming up next, I want to talk about some of the intensifying questions that this team has. We'll recap my predictions. We'll talk about what's next for the Bills and this podcast. So, folks, be sure to stick with me. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. The real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Well, Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. The Part Finder tools and 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters, and you got to love their Trademaster perks like priority shipping and dedicated support that make the whole process smoother. So join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order at supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Folks, the NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you do not want to miss right now. New customers can bet just $5, and you're going to get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put $5 down, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, tried player props, and even followed the live lines during games. It makes watching football even more exciting when you got a little something riding on the action. So whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. The Bills lost, but I was in on the overs for Drake London and Bijan Robinson, so we cashed out pretty well on hitting those. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Welcome back, folks. I started our conversation today talking about criticism and questions that are very deserved of this football team based on what we've seen through 6 games. Offensively, can they find their rhythm? Can they stay two-dimensional? It's a big question. They've not shown any level of consistency with those things. I loved where things were headed with Dalton Kincaid, and I don't think that's a serious injury. I'm sure he'll be fine after the bye. But can you find your rhythm? Can you stay in rhythm? Can you effectively work in your run game to go with your pass game and build everything off of it like you should be able to? Do you need another playmaker? Certainly wouldn't hurt, right? How do you get one? Who is it? Stuff you got to be thinking about. Defensively, tackling, coverage, penalties. Got to do some soul searching on this tackling. I think Sean McDermott said after the game, sometimes you just got to run through a guy. Yeah. Yep, that'd be good. Coverage, just wide open guys all the time. Got a lot better in the second half, but, I mean, for a lot of that game, Michael Penix is throwing to wide open Drake London. Wide open Bijan Robinson. How do you become more connected and sticky and tight in coverage? You better figure it out. How do you stop committing penalties? That'd be nice. Christian Benford allows a 3rd and 14 because of PI. Tired of giving away first downs because you make a stop and then a yellow flag hits the field. You're getting some reinforcements. How much will they matter? How do you get Michael Hoyt and Larry Ogunjobi quickly helping your team? How quickly can you get Maxwell Harrison out there? Is it time to ask yourself, should Jordan Poyer be starting at safety? Sean McDermott hinted at that being a possibility at the end of his press conference after the game. Talking about the way he prepares and practices. You think I put him out there. Heck, if I care. I put him in there over Taylor Rapp is what I do. And how many bad angles and playing slow can we deal with out of Taylor Rapp? It's like, I don't know, just put Jordan Poyer in there. How does Shaq Thompson factor into this mix? He's been your best linebacker. How do you figure out your front rotation with these new players back in? Do you need to make a trade on defense? Should Bobby Babbage continue calling the defense? Should Sean McDermott take this over? I mean, if you're Sean McDermott, I know he's come out and said, like he wants to be, it's hard for him to be the best head coach if he's also the defensive coordinator, but like, are you just gonna let this happen? Right? Like, Your defense is, I mean, at times it comes together, but you got to get it to play faster, right? It kind of came together at times against New England and came together late against Baltimore. Like, it certainly happens, but be nice to not put yourself in a hole over and over again. There's a lot to figure out. A lot of questions. This team has a lot to prove. I think it's hard right now to take them seriously as a Super Bowl contender. Back to what I said at the beginning, there were times where you thought the Bills could win the Super Bowl and they started 4-2 and had some bad losses, but what does this team have? How do they bounce back? They got outplayed by the Falcons and the Patriots in back-to-back weeks. A lot to be concerned about. All right, let's talk about my predictions. My first prediction that was Bijan Robinson would go over 100 scrimmage yards. Yeah, that happened, 238. I said James Cook would go over 100 scrimmage yards. He got 87. Feel like maybe there was a missed opportunity to get the ball to James Cook a little bit more. So I didn't get that right. Number 3 is I said the Bills would have a season high in passing yards against Atlanta. Josh Allen had 180 passing yards, so we did that. I said Khalil Shakir would go over 48.5 receiving yards. He only got 33. I feel like that was the type of game where you'd expect a little more impact. I mean, obviously get your second foot down. That would be helpful. But in a game where, they're blitzing like crazy, you're having protection issues, you're down Palmer, you're down Kincaid, it feels like Shakir is the obvious, okay, prioritize touches for him. And it never felt like that was a priority. He finishes the game with 3 catches for 33 yards on 5 targets. I predicted the Bills would win. That didn't happen. Next up for the Bills is a bye week. Get healthy and figure out what your formula is this year. And then they face the Carolina Panthers. Next up for this podcast is the All-22 review. And then it's kind of bye week mode where the content continues. I'm going to do a self-scouting episode where I will talk about the Bills as if they were an opponent. And we'll kind of get into what they have and don't. I have some guests. If you've been an everydayer for multiple years, there's some guests that I like to talk about or talk to about the Bills during the bye week. So we have that all queued up. We'll do herd mentality. We'll blink, and then it'll be time to get ready for the Carolina Panthers. Speaking of that Carolina Panthers game, I announced an event that I'll be part of here in Charlotte at Waxhaw Tap House the day before that Panthers-Bills game. Would love for you to be part of it. Go to thejoemarino.com. You can see more on the event. We're going to do just a big hangout. There's going to be drinks and entertainment, games. We'll do a live Q&A day before at the Waxhaw Tap House. Go to thejoemarino.com for more details on that. We do kindly ask that you RSVP. We have no idea what the turnout's going to be, and we want to make sure that the venue is able to staff appropriately. So we do kindly ask that you RSVP if you're going to go to the event. And the way you do that is just go to thejoemarino.com. It's very easy to RSVP under the events tab. All right, folks, a lot more to do, obviously, throughout this bye week, a lot to talk about, a lot to think about, maybe some expectations to recalibrate. This team has a lot to prove. I think that's my big takeaway right now. This team has a lot to prove to us. And any doubt, any questions, any criticism, it's all fair. Every bit it's fair. They started 4-0, but you knew there were issues, but they won. And when you have issues and you win, you say things like, well, they haven't played their best football, but they're winning, and I like the direction. Then you lose 2 in a row and you get outplayed twice, and those same questions exist. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, that's going to do it for us here today on this podcast. As always, I kindly ask that you share, subscribe, rate, and review. Have a great rest of your day. Go Bills, and I look forward to catching up with you again real soon.